the Columbus Building Trades began meeting with the CRAA leadership about the utilization of a community benefit agreement for the construction of the nearly $2 billion project. As I stated when I was here in October, a CBA will ensure that no matter what contractors work on the project, union, non-union, local or non-local, local workers will be utilized, and all workers on your public project will be treated equally when it comes to wages, health care, and retirement. The Franklin County Commissioners and the City of Columbus regularly use CBAs and CBA type agreements on their projects, and they have a proven track record when it comes to ensuring equal treatment for women, minorities, and workers of all races and genders on their construction projects. Unfortunately, last Friday, the contractor that was hired by CRAA, Hensel Phelps, severed negotiations with the Columbus Building Trades on a CBA on the new terminal project. This comes after months of stalled negotiations in which Hensel Phelps sought to include an opt-out provision, which would allow any contractor to dodge the requirements of the CBA. A CBA with opt-outs would defeat the whole purpose of an agreement and leave your project unnecessarily exposed to claims of unequal treatment of workers, with the fallout and conflict that it would create. As Hensel Phelps is an out-of-state contractor who appears to be a member of the Associated Builders and Contractors, a notorious anti-union organization, it is unclear whether their representatives were ever truly interested in negotiating an agreement with the trades that would put our community first. The end of negotiations occurred after Hensel Phelps attempted to again push for an opt-out for contractors, this time repackaged as an exclusion or an exemption for MBE, WBE contractors. Hensel Phelps' proposal would allow for unequal and inferior terms and conditions of employment for minority, women, and workers of all races and genders employed by these excluded, exempted contractors. When the Columbus Building Trades offered to include language in the CBA, modeled after an agreement Hensel Phelps made with the building trades unions for the Seattle Airport project, language which would address concerns regarding minority contractor participation on the project and also protect their employees from unequal and inferior treatment compared to other construction workers, Hensel Phelps then informed the trades it was no longer willing to engage in additional negotiations. It has been obvious the last 7 months that Hensel Phelps wants all the benefits of a CBA, but at the same time refuses to commit to the equal treatment of workers on your project. For their first community outreach event, they failed to invite the Columbus Building Trades or the Columbus NAACP. At their first meeting with potential contractors, a public meeting, they stated they were not going to require contractors to pay prevailing wages. When I presented them with language that set aspirational goals for local and minority hiring for workers, similar to what is in agreements with the city and the county, they opposed such language and shared their intent to maintain the ability to bring in out-of-state contractors with out-of-state workers. They know that unions will not sign a CBA that carves out contractors from treating workers in the same trade equally, and at the same time requires those unions to sign away their rights as protected under the National Labor Relations Act. Hensel Phelps is setting all of us in Central Ohio up. They are setting the project and our community up for avoidable conflict and avoidable failure. The Columbus Building Trades is a reliable partner with the city and the county, and we want to be a reliable partner with CBA, the CRAA. We cannot let Hensel Phelps divide us or our community. If you don't fully understand why opt-outs are such a poison pill, consider this. Imagine going home to tell your kids you're taking a Disney family vacation, but some of them are going to be required to stay home. That's what Hensel Phelps is asking of me. They want me to say that some workers, depending on who they work for, will be treated as an exception or as an exclusion when it comes to equal treatment on your job site. Some workers will be an exception to quality wages, health care, retirement that others receive. In other words, equal treatment for workers will stop at the construction site gate. Hensel Phelps has tried to create a wedge issue by pitting unions against minority and women-owned contractors, and when the Columbus Building Trades sought to find a pathway forward, that didn't leave workers behind. It ended negotiations, and we aren't taking their bait, and you shouldn't either. The Columbus Building Trades and our community partners are not going to let Hensel Phelps continue to use minority contractors as props in an effort to deny workers industry standard wages, pre-apprenticeship training, apprenticeship training, benefits like quality health care, or mechanisms to enforce their rights on the job. Unlike Hensel Phelps, the Columbus Building Trades Councils and our member unions remain ready and willing to address the legitimate interests of contractors while also ensuring the equality of terms and conditions of employment for the employees who work for them. In closing, Hensel Phelps works for this board. Hensel Phelps works for the CRAA. CRAA does not work for Hensel Phelps. The Columbus Building Trades and its member unions remain ready to work with you or Hensel Phelps to get it done consistent with a long history of labor management partnership in our city and our county. Thank you.